What is going on, guys? It's your boy Andy Arts, and today we're gonna be working on a video on how to color skin, right? So I've made a lot of videos, mostly drawing videos. I don't do a lot of coloring videos, mostly just speed paints because um, well, everybody has their own style of palette of painting and coloring, and then there's like cell shading, right? There's cell shading. There is soft shading, and I'm gonna show you my way of coloring, my way of painting, following the principles, of course, shadow, lighting, highlights, all that stuff, right? And I went ahead and I used a 3D model from Clip Studio Pro. So let's go ahead and get started. And so this is for like people that are for, I guess, beginners. If you're just starting coloring on, digital, if you're just getting started on digital art, you want to know how to color. This is a pretty good tutorial. If you're more advanced, I mean, you can skip this. This is pretty much for beginners. So let's get started. Okay, so we have our line art, we have our canvas, right? We have our pen here, and we have our model, right? We have our shape, which is this beautiful feminine shape here. And let's go ahead and throw in some color, right? So let's start in with the skin color. We're gonna get our tool, so we're gonna go with this. Let's go to the base layer. Oh, I don't like this color. Hold on. By the way, all my layers are on the left side over here. So as you can see, I have a base layer, shadow layer, light layer, and the lines. The lines always go on top. Colors and shading go under. Those are the lower layers. So let's see if we can work with this color. Yeah, this is perfect. All right, and I'm gonna use the fill bucket tool just to fill in the blanks here. Gotta love Clip Studio Pro. Gotta love Clip Studio Pro. Just makes everything so easy. Right? I'm just gonna color this here. Increase our brush size. Color it in. Let's see if there is any. See if there's any like little spots that we could have missed. So we're gonna bring down the liner layer. No, everything is pretty much filled in. Perfect. All right, so we got our base color, right? So we got our base skin color. So what do we do next, right? We got to decide where is the light coming from. And I'm gonna do a new layer here. I'm gonna pick the color red. All right, I'm gonna pick the color red, and I'm gonna draw a little sun here. Right, a little sun up here. This is where the light of the sun is coming from. We're gonna pick our color again. And then we're gonna go to our shadow layer. All right, so we know that our light source is coming from up here, right? It's coming from up here. And so the light is going to hit the head. So most of the shadows are going to be on this side, right? They're gonna be on like this side. So let's go ahead and start coloring. So when choosing your shadow color, right? When choosing your shadow color, what you want to do is, hold on, let me extend this. You want to go to the color wheel. So if you see where the main color is, it's up here, right? It's up here. Now, because we're using sunlight, now if moonlight and sunlight is different, so keep that in mind. We're using sunlight, so we want a warm shadow color. So I'm gonna drag the color picker over here. There we go. Let's go ahead and test out the color, see how it looks. All right, so that's a nice warm color. Now let me put it a little bit more. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and use my Hold on, only one color in brush. And let's go ahead and, oh, by the way, almost forgot. So here on the layers, we have our base layer, right? And then we have our shadow layer. What we want to do so that the colors don't bleed out of the base. So we're gonna clip it. Right, so we're gonna clip it, and what that means is that this top layer, the shadow layer, when you draw on that shadow layer, it's not gonna go outside of the, you know, of the base layer. So it's only gonna color where in the colored area, if that makes sense, right? So it's not gonna color outside of any outside of the lines, outside of where we painted first, outside of the base area. Okay, so let's go ahead. I always like to start in the head. So light is coming from up here, from the top. So it's gonna cast light over here like this type of light. So we're gonna take up this side of the face. It's gonna create a shadow here in the nose. And shadow under the lip. There's always a shadow under the lip, right? So this little lip shadow on the right. And I like to do this. You know that little bridge between the nose and the mouth? It goes like that, right? Like a little bridge, like, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, there you go. There you go. That little bridge. I like to do that. And then the ear folds. So inside the ear, it's going to be pretty dark. Right? Kind of like that, like this. Right, and then of course, the eye area. I didn't draw the eye, but let's say it's going to have some shadow here. Right? Under the neck. Light's coming from the top, so under the neck is not. So when you're shadowing, the skin is always where the sun does not reach, right? Where the sunlight is not exactly like reaching completely, it creates a shadow. There we go. There we go. All right, and then of course we have the head, and the head is casting, since the light is coming from the top right, the head is casting a shadow on his own body, right? So it's gonna look like this, right? So we got the head, so like it's gonna go like that. Right, and I'm gonna cast a shadow on his own arm. It's gonna look like that, right? And okay, so this is something that I actually like to do. So you see this line here for the collarbone, right? The line here for the collarbone. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the line layer and I'm gonna erase it because I like how it looks when it's painted, right? So we're gonna erase it. And instead of like having dark, lines on it, we're just gonna line it up. We're gonna create the collarbone. We're gonna define the collarbone with just paint, right? Just paint. There we go, like that. Right. So here, there's a collarbone. That's where the collarbone ends. All right, there we go. So you see here how we basically just drew out the collarbone. And then of course, so then it's gonna create this like, this line here. Hold on, let me get just a watercolor brush. There we go, like that. It's gonna create that, and then so these are like the muscle lines, like the neck muscles, right? And the neck muscles, it's like round here. So when the light hits it, it's only like, it shows like little shadow on this side, right? Let's go back to our all-in coloring brush. And the light is not going to be reaching this down here, right? It's not going to be reaching it. We're going to color in here. There we go. Right, and then perfect. So you see the line. So it's dark here, but then they have the arm coming forward. So there's going to be light on this side, but on this side over here it's going to be dark. So we're going to go ahead and color. We're going to go ahead and color this side. Like that. All right, and then of course the hands. Light's coming from above, no light at the bottom of the hands and the palm of the hands, right? And then it's gonna, there we go. There we go. Well, in this case, it's gonna be on this side. There we go. All right, so we got the arm, and now let's go ahead and do the chest area. Everybody's favorite part, right? So the chest area. See the chest, because this is two spheres, so it's gonna go like that, right? Let me erase this here. It's gonna go like that. And because the light is coming from the top, right? So you want to shade that area where it's casting like the most shadow. So here, from this angle, right? And then of course, it's also going to cast a light below the breast down here. So I'm going to use a bit of a lighter brush. There we go. Okay, perfect. Now, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I am gonna go into a time lapse, right? I'm gonna go into a time lapse, and once I'm done shading everything, I'm gonna explain like why it looks the way it does. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so we are back. What is up, everybody? All right, so what we did here is basically we shadowed in all the areas where like the sun cannot reach or can barely reach, and okay, and what we're gonna do next? Well, actually, let me explain exactly here. So what you see here, these lines, you might be confused by some of these lines, but what this is, hold on, what this is just me trying to define the body with the shadow, right? We're trying to define the body with the shadow. See right here. So right here, if you know this muscle creates a bit of a slope here with the collarbone, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna like shade like blend these shadows in so that they don't look so stiff, so rough. But basically, what you can do is you can define the shape of the body with the shadows, right? And I'll give you an example. Let me use the lasso tool to kind of like illustrate this a little better. So let's say I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use the lasso tool, right? And I'm gonna do this on the breast, right? So then we're gonna take the airbrush. Hold on, the airbrush. And what we're gonna do with the airbrush is we're gonna expand it. We're gonna expand it, right? And then we're going to like create this here, right? And then when you remove it, see it creates this shape here. And you see this, oh man, I don't want to sound like pervy, but if you look at real breasts, you see this shape, right? This is the shape that the breasts make on the chest. Ah, man, how do I explain this without being like sounding pervy? Um, anyways, let me remove this. So, and actually, this shape it should be more towards over here, where you can see that. All right, we're gonna take care of that in a moment, guys. So, all right, so, all right, there we go. All right, so what we're gonna do now, after shaping out the body, and we're gonna start blending in the shadows, and then we're gonna add darker tones. Hold on. I gotta add more details here, right? So here's the tummy, right? And then tummy goes in, goes like that. It's a bit of a shadow, and it's a bit of a shadow here, right? Right, we're gonna define the tummy a little more later on, but first let's go ahead and blend the shadow. So, depending on what software you're using, whether it's Clip Studio Pro, Photoshop, or Procreate, you should have a blur tool. There should be like a blur tool or a smudge tool or a blending brush, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use my blending brush, which is the blur tool. And the shadows that we're gonna blend are the shadows that are not solid. So here's how it works. Um, you see these straight lines here? See these straight lines here? Right, from this shadow. What this is, because the chin is so close to the neck, it creates this like sharp shadow here, right? But the shadows that are like farther away from the face, that's casting from the farther away from the head, that's casting the shadow. The lines are more blended in, and they're not as sharp, right? So what we're gonna do is we are going to blend these shadows that are farther away from the head, right? So we're going to take our blur tool and we're going to blend it in. There we go. All right, so it looks pretty good. And we're going to blend this shadow here, right? As well as this here. Actually, let me use the soft eraser. Let me erase a little bit of this. All right, so we're see these collarbone shadows. We're just blurring out some of it to make it look more organic to the body, make it blend, right? There we go. All right, in the head, right? So we're gonna blend this in, blend, 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 blend. Actually, it's the eye socket. That's gonna be blended there. The nose, around the nose area. There we go, the nose bridge. The nose is close to that shadow, so it's gonna be a little rougher. And we're gonna go over here to the arm. Here we go. There we go. All right, so you see this? You see how it looks so much smoother now? That looks so much smoother, right? That's because we're blending in all the colors, right? Now with the blur tool helping us blend in the colors. There we go. Here we go. This is looking great. This is looking fantastic. Then we're gonna blend this here, the arm. See how it's starting to look smoother on the skin, right? Yeah, see that? Okay, and you see this here? You see how you can define the muscles with the shadow? Right, you see that? You can define the muscles with the shadow, right? Because if there's like a muscle that goes in like this, right? Goes in like this, we can actually detail it simply with the shadows, right? So if I wanted to add a muscle here, I would just add a brush to it and then blur it out a little bit. Hold on, oops, sorry about that. All right. Oh, this shouldn't even be here. All right, here we go. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into another time lapse and I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, you guys. Okay, so I'm back. So pretty much blended in all the main shadow. Now let's go ahead and add in a little bit of detail. And I like to start by adding in a darker tone. So we're gonna go ahead to our color picker. And this is currently where our shadow is. So I'm gonna go a little bit darker down here with the warm shadows. And I'm gonna take my watercolor brush and just add a little bit of darker. So basically, when we're drawing the shadows, we're drawing the shadows where the sun doesn't reach that much, right? So the head is casting a shadow on his own shoulder. The breast is casting a shadow. The sun doesn't reach this left side of the leg here. So, but there's like darker areas where the sun really cannot reach at all, right? So I'll give you an example. One of those areas would be like under the chin. It tends to be pretty dark. Hold on. All right, this is gonna be pretty dark here. And under the armpits, right? Locations where barely any sun. It's gonna be not the whole arm, but like just the armpit under here. So we're gonna do a little bit this, and we're gonna blend it a little bit. There we go. And around here, the side of the body, right? Now we are coloring like around the side of the body, but I imagine that the sun is actually reaching the back. So we're gonna add some rim light to this, right? And we blend. And then we're gonna go down here where the sun is not shining. You guys know the deal. I'm gonna try to trying to keep this PG, guys. The crotch area. All right, here we go. So let me just blend this here. Okay. All right, so we got those bit darker areas. Now, here's what we're gonna do. So, of course, we want to show some details like on the rib cage, right? And on some of the, I guess, like the fat around the body down here. So what we're gonna do is just continue to use this darker shade. I'm gonna need to use this darker shade. Maybe go a little bit darker. Hold on a second. A little bit darker. Yeah, just a tiny little bit. We're gonna use a brush. Try to use a watercolor brush. Right. Try to use a watercolor brush. In here, what I'm gonna do, just wanna show, just wanna do these lines here for the rib cage. Hold on. Erase this. All right, and color history. Okay, let me use the airbrush here for this because there is, it goes around. See, this area here tends to be carries more fat in the area. So you can use an airbrush to define these sounds around here. Hold on a second. See this rough line here? You can draw a line to like define the body, then start blurring it out so you can blend it in. All right, so draw it and then use the blur tool, start blurring it so that you can start. Yeah, there we go. There we go. And I want to use the soft eraser tool just to like for this side here. Okay, great. So, okay, so the belly. So the belly, the belly, the belly. Want to define the belly a little more. So I'm gonna use the airbrush tool, and I'm gonna go like this. Right, I'm trying to define belly. You can press on it a little more to add more, to define it a little more. All right, so if we zoom out, you can kind of see the definition, right? So if you know the human anatomy, this is why it's very important to know human anatomy, is because in the abdominals here are divided into two. So she doesn't have ass, but like here, this is an area that dips, right? It's an area that is in heaven, it dips. So that what that means is like it's cut in like it's divided in two, and then there's like a slope, right? So it's almost like I don't know, I guess two bread buns. I don't know how to explain it, but if you look at the anatomy, and the abdominal areas is divided in two because of the abs, right? And then the abs, they kind of like, they're like in bows on the body. I don't know if that's a good way to explain it, but I'm just trying here, so bear with me, right? And then with the soft brush, you can really just start defining, like if you want to add some abdominals, you can do so like that. Well, that does not look good on her, actually. But yeah, let me erase some of this, actually. Because we're like toning her. She's not athletic. She doesn't have like. Okay, so that's a little better. Um, Let me just. It's a little too dark here. Let me blend it a little bit more. Okay, so that looks much better there. Right, okay, so what is next? So we got our darks, we got our lights. What is next on our list here? And let me just do this here. A little bit dark. Just trying to like, do some final finishing touches. All right, so the next step. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Yeah. You see the rib cage here? I did this with a little watercolor brush, right? So very soft. You can really like soft color that with the same color as the shadow, just to show like some details in the body. You can do that. Go like that, right? And maybe use the airbrush as well to show the ribs. Show the ribs. Right? It's looking pretty good. So now we have to add some light because the skin shines, right? The skin shines, and we're gonna add some light areas here. And the skin shines on areas that are like round. So that would be like, in this case, the breast, round. The head is round. The shoulders, and areas where there's like a round slope, like in the belly area, the thighs. So let's go ahead and do it. So we're gonna go to our light layer over here, and we're gonna clip it to the base so that we don't color outside of the area of the skin. And so we're gonna choose a lighter color than the skin. So we're gonna color pick the skin tone. We're gonna go to our color wheel. So here's our color wheel. We're gonna move it a little bit to the left, right? So we're gonna go a little bit to the left, not too white. It's not gonna be fully white. And then we're gonna take the airbrush, and I want to start up here with the head because the shadow's on that side, but the light is gonna be on the right side. So it's gonna be right up here. I don't know if it's like easy to see on YouTube. And then on the breast, the top of the breast here, we're gonna light this up here. We're gonna light this up here. Right, so you can see that. And there's gonna be light on the shoulder here. We're gonna shrink our brush down. Gonna draw some airbrush the shoulder, making that light skin tone. Right, we're gonna right, and on the right arm here is gonna be like, just think of a cylinder, right? Think of a cylinder. And then of course the belly is gonna have an area here, so right around here, it's gonna have these two sides, gonna be light. The thigh area, let me increase the hardness for the thigh. Hold on, so like that. Right, you see, right, you guys see that? See that light? And if it's a little too rough, like if it's a little too hard, you can do this, right? And then you can use the blur tool or the blend tool to reduce that roughness around that light. So reduce that roughness. Right, make it blend, make it blur, make it blend in. Right, so it's looking a little more realistic now with the light. Okay, and what we're gonna do here is, now I'm gonna add a shine. I'm gonna create a new layer for the highlight, and I'm gonna use my pen tool, hard solid. Well, let me fix this. I don't want it to be too hard. Pen tool, and now we're gonna use pure white. We're gonna use pure white because when the sun hits, right, and the pure white is gonna be right there. You guys see that? There you go. We're gonna see that. We're gonna pure white. The head up here, pure white. We're gonna fix it in a moment, guys. So hold on. And then pure white there. All right. So these are the areas where, like, hold on. All right, so you see these highlights? These are like highlights because the skin is, especially if you have oily skin, you can see the shine of the sun on your skin at these top points, right? These round top points. But they're a little too solid. We're gonna, like, just smooth them out a little bit. And of course, we're gonna go back to the blur tool. So we're gonna, right? Use the blur tool and just go around it. Make sure it's not doesn't look so solid. There we go. That is much better. All right, so we're gonna. You see how it doesn't look as solid now? See that? With the blur tool, doesn't look as solid. Yeah, baby. We're gonna go up to the shoulder. There we go. It's blurred into the body and over here. Did we fix this? Yeah, I think we did. All right, and then here to the leg highlights. You can make them as shiny as you want, right? Alrighty, man. This is looking absolutely fantastic. And now, so we added the base color shadow, darker shadows, soft shadows within the body. And now what we're gonna do, all right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add highlight. So remember how I told you that this here in the area of the back, there's still light coming, because the light is coming from the top right. So the sun is like it's definitely hidden in the back. We just can't see it. So we're gonna add some highlight to this, right? And the way to do it is hold on a second. It will not just highlight, but also what is called reflective light. Yeah, reflective light. And I'm gonna use a light yellow. Hold on, I'm gonna make a new layer, and that layer is gonna be overlay. We're gonna use a light yellow color here, light yellow, right? And that color, I guess this like bounce light. We're going to use. We're gonna use. Let me use the watercolor brush. I'm gonna go like this, right? Smaller. Go like this. All right, so you see that? This is light. This light is coming. This is another source of light, and it's just, you know. All right, so the breast area. Hold on. Breast area. Going for the breast. Back. There we go. Hold on. There we go. And let's add a little bit of that here. So we added like a little, I guess like you could say a little bounce light, you could say. Yeah. Bounce light, ambient light, whatever you want to call it. And a little bit over here. And in case some of you guys are wondering, oh, what is a bounce? What is what you're adding yellow to the shadows? And if you look at real world shadows, yeah, there's shadows, but there's also light still being casted that's reaching into the shadow. Um, and that's why it looks like that. Right? So, and there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Here we have this is our skin tutorial from Andy Arts. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was helpful. Maybe one day, because this is just the basics, maybe one day I'll do a more advanced, coloring tutorial one day. And yeah, I hope that you guys learned something from this. If you found this very helpful, make sure to share this video on social media. Make sure to like this video. Comment below, tell me what you think. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for future notifications. And that's going to be pretty much it. Guys, subscribe to the channel. Spread the word. And I'll see you in the next art tutorial. This is your boy, Indie Arts. Godspeed.